Next up on the In the Money Players podcast or the In the Money Media YouTube channel, if you're watching over there, we remind you, if you are, to please subscribe. Helps us out, and make sure you don't miss any of our YouTube exclusive content. Also, if you're on the YouTube side, I'll ask in advance today. Give us a comment. Let us know what you think about these races on Saturday at Saratoga. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? Who did we leave out? All that fun stuff. PTF and Nick Tammaro back with you. We're going to dive right in to talk about this 2-year-old filly maiden special weight that kicks off the Saratoga Pick 6 on Saturday. Nick, what numbers will be on your tickets to kick this thing off?
Yeah, it feels like kind of the first big 2-year-old race of the meet, right? At least especially for fillies, big field. There's a colt race earlier on the card that is very good as well. Obviously, my thoughts will be at themoneypodcast.com. I mean, I think we start our conversation, Pete, with the 4 Vajra, second-time starter by Vekoma, who got bet down to 2-1 favoritism on debut at Churchill and landed in what looks like it's probably going to end up being a pretty productive maiden race. We're seeing these horses now run out of it. It was won from deep in the pack by a horse named Chopsticks for Brad Cox. This filly got involved in a really strong pace and posted pace figures in there that would be consistent with it being very strong. It came up red at all 3 points of call on Timeform US. So the expectation would be that she's going to run better with a little bit of experience. She's the horse to beat, but there's some interesting pedigrees in here. In fact, really basically from stalls 6 through 9, you have some really good mares, really good dams. Acting Happy, who won the Black Eyed Susan. It is the dam of the 6. Come On, Get Happy. Great name. Homebred for Samantha Siegel. The 7, Tommy Joe, is out of Mother, who was a stakes winner, banked $430,000 by 16% debut sire Into Mischief. The 8, Immortalized, is out of Dickinson, who was a grade 1 winner on turf. This is probably more of a turfy pedigree, being a half to Wadsworth, but Irad gets on board for Brad Cox with Flavian Pratt out of town. And the 9, Academia, is by Into Mischief, a 16% debut sire. The Damn Wowcat, of course, was a grade 1 winner and nearly won the 2018 Breeders' Cup Distaff. It feels like that's probably more of a distance pedigree, and this will be a horse that's better as they get longer. I think the 10 Lollipoppin is interesting, and I might pick this horse on top. I haven't decided completely. The Dam was a debut winner. She's dropped 5 winners from as many to race. Munning's Progeny are 15% first time out. There's a couple of winners, not that they were significant winners, but I like the outside draw. We've seen Mott do well with fillies on debut, so I'm wondering if I might be able to get a little clever and use the 10 Lollipoppin, but I will definitely use the 4 as an A. And backup wise, I'll probably let the board dictate if there's somebody taking money. We'll look at the workout report a little bit later as well. But 4, 10 are my big numbers. I could see some combination of the 7 and 9 maybe getting in there as backups.
All right, it makes sense. I'm impressed. I would have thought you were too young to appreciate the name Come On, Get Happy. You grew up watching.
Oh, I'm an old soul. I'm the oldest 41-year-old in the world, man. I'm listening to the 60s on 6 Channel. Now they moved it up the dial. It's I'm yeah, Come On, Get Happy. Very much a song that I'm familiar with. You know what's a great scene? There's the movie Another Stakeout with Rosie O'Donnell and Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez. She is singing that song. She's singing Come On, Get Happy while she's in the shower, and the dog is going, ho! It's an absolutely terrific scene.
That's very funny. Sequel to the 1987 classic Stakeout, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
I put Tommy Joe on top, just a guess, but you mentioned about Mother, and Mother, who herself posted an 87 first out, by Into Mischief, good-looking tab, and then the 4 Vara. Those were the 2 I mentioned, but you make compelling cases for the rest. Obviously, we'll get to see the board before committing to the pick 6 in here, and you're going to want every bit of information you can before deciding how to whittle down your tickets. But for me, 7 and 4 for now. That's a terrific case you make on the 10. I can pretty much guarantee I'm going to be getting that one onto some tickets. Let's move to race number 8, where we've got a state-bred allowance. And I like the horse in here quite a bit. I thought that number 3, Vikinda, looked very interesting. Few races recently better than they looked. And it just felt like this time the pace is supposed to set up for his closing kick in this spot. There's a lot of stories you could tell, but I was mainly at the first order of business focused on Vikinda. Who do you like in here?
Yeah, this is a really tough race. I mean, this is an above average New York bred, one other than, and you've got some horses coming in from Finger Lakes with good form, including the 4 Blamaker, who got an 86 buyer last time out, got a 111 Timeform US final number, I think got a 6th Thorograph. Those are fast, right? Yeah. But it was also an open company. I was talking to Steve Bick about this race earlier on the show. It was an open company race, and to me, I actually prefer the New York bred races at Finger Lakes. I think the New York bred races are generally a little bit better. The open company races can be on the weaker side. The other problem this horse is going to run into is there's a ton of speed in here. And it's going to be very, very hard for anybody to go wire to wire. I think a horse on the outside like Sir Cartwright and even the 9 Kenny B, both of whom have winning type credentials, they both look like need the lead types to me. I thought the race was just really going to set up nicely for the 10 on the hill. I hate taking, a third or a fourth of the price that he was last time out, but this is a horse that at this level, 2 starts back was 5-2. So obviously had a tough trip that day, didn't really run on. Now, Katie's going to have to get him going because it isn't easy to make up a ton of ground on the Saratoga main track, but I'm going to use him. I have no issue with Vikinda. I also wonder, I hate that we're paying the IRAD tax, but I wonder how much he's going to be able to work out a trip on the 2 Stewie, because this is a horse who also looks like he wants to be forward. IRAD has an uncanny knack for getting these horses to relax and sitting just off the pace. I don't want to be beaten by this horse. So my A numbers are going to be 2, 3, 10, but I'll definitely back up with horses like the 4, 8, and 9.
All right. I think that's a good assessment of how that looks. Let's move it along to our next race, which is what? Which is race number 9. Is that what we're up to?
Yeah.
We've got stakes action. We've got the Grade 3 Lake George, a race that felt like there were some obvious ones and maybe something sneaky to work in here. I'll let you talk about this one first.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious ones are the 1, 2, 3 finishers from the Wild Applause. I don't think the result here will be the same as it was that day. I would be betting against Classic Q, who I thought was took full advantage of the situation that day with the inside draw, the rail being where you want it to be on the turf course. And she was still really all out to hold on at a mile. I don't think with Play with Fire and Lavender Disaster running at her late, she's going to stave all these horses off at a mile and a 16th. I like Lavender Disaster quite a bit. She was 2 to 3 wide the whole way around there, really dealt with the worst of it from a track profile standpoint. So I'm going to pick her on top. I'll use the 2 Chads as A's. And my off-the-wall horse is Daisy Flyer, the 3, who I thought was a price that probably was worthy of some consideration. I know that Here Comes the Bride was not a particularly strong race. Obviously, Vixen did not pan out as a 3-year-old filly. It was her stablemate, Nitrogen, that ended up being quite a bit better. But Daisy Flyer was class tested that day and ran a lot better. And that was her first start off a long layoff. I don't think Rusty put her on the shelf for 4.5 months by design. So obviously something has happened. But here she is back in the mix. I always like to take his horses seriously in this kind of scenario.
Is there a story to be told about Good Long Cry in this spot? A horse we've talked about a ton on these airwaves, getting back on the right surface, probably pace compromised in that March race at Tampa, has that good maiden special run to run back to. I mean, granted, it was 6 to 5 in there and it was a long time ago, but I was sort of imagining a figure improvement for age, case that you could maybe get this one on the board at what should be a huge price. Am I onto something there, or you think it's crazy?
I mean, what you're onto is that she's going to be a big price because of bad races on the wrong surface.
Yeah.
So, you're talking about a filly that if you draw a line through the synthetic race and the dirt race, she's probably about 10 to 1. She's going to be 30 to 1 because she's coming in off what look like 2 really lackluster efforts.
Yeah.
I think the key with her is that she needs to be very engaged in the pace. And I think the patient ride at Tampa and the patient ride at Gulfstream sort of ruined her. So if she's going to get back to the type of race she put forth when she broke her maiden, and again, that was on kind of a quirky, late autumn turf course at Aqueduct, she's got to be involved. So she has the potential to be a real thorn in the side of a horse like Classic Q. As much as I would love to say she's a win candidate for our buddies at Black Type Thoroughbreds and Reagan Swinbank, I could see her maybe hitting the board after she contests the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, at that kind of price, that could unlock some payouts. I was going to mess around
Absolutely.
with her and the 2 Chads you mentioned. I agree completely to preferring the 4 and the 10 to the 5 in that spot. For exotics purposes, I might not be a hero. I might leave Classic Q in for a little something, but you make a compelling case. That's one you could just try to be against off how flattered she was by the way the course was playing the last day with those rails down. Let's talk about the Jim Dandy return to the races of your Derby winner, Sovereignty. If you're just looking at figures and form, Sovereignty towers over this field. But what do you do from a betting point of view, Nick? Is this a free square, or is this a chance to get cute and a spot where the best horse pointing for a different target might not get the job done? Which way do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, you wonder, and I was telling Steve before, Belmont is the kind of trainer that will burn a race to get to his objective.
Yep.
And we've seen it happen plenty of times. We saw it happen with this horse, right? I mean, he clearly did not put the screws to him to get him there in the Florida Derby, knowing he was in the Kentucky Derby field already. And I'm not saying he was undertrained or, I think Junior knew, hey, or Manny knew that day, just let him plug along. And if he ends up running second, that's fine. But I wonder now, with it being Saratoga, with it being a contested race for the Eclipse, knowing that he's up there, he's trained so well up there, he just looks like he's exceptionally tough to beat. I think in the multis, and for pick six purposes, you're singling him. I can't see anybody in here beating him.
Yeah, I went the free square route as well. I was teeing it up to get cute, but I just, at the end of the day, I tried to get cute and I blinked. Feels like he, especially with increased tactical speed like we saw last time, there's not really a scenario. It's not like he's some deep one-run closer who's going to, be compromised, a Sierra Leone style. This is a horse at this point looks like he can make his own trip. So we'll go that way. Do you have an exacta? Do you have a horse you like for second or anything, or are you just going to keep it super simple in the Dandy?
I wonder if I think the value will be it'll be there in the exotics. I would bet Hill Road in second, and I know that sounds dumb considering there's really only one speed horse, but this is one speed horse to me that has no shot at getting the trip. So if Moplex comes back to them and Baeza is just sort of the kind of horse he's been, Hill Road can bridge that gap between the two of them at the finish of the Belmont. I mean, heck, it was only a couple of lengths. So that would probably be my one punch exacta, and hoping that maybe Irad gets Hill Road a little bit more involved. I would be playing against Sandman as well. I think Sandman, it's been a fun story and a fun ride for the connections, but he's never really been as good as the hype, right? And I don't think you want to start jumping on board now simply because they're putting a set of blinkers on him.
And Baeza, similar. I mean, he's so good, certainly talented, but he's going to take so much money. I like your idea a lot. Play against the famous horses for second in the exacta, but don't cut off your nose to spite your face with the obvious top pick, Sovereignty. I may follow you in on that cold punch. Let's go to race number 11. We've got Steep Red, Maiden, special weight fillies going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. Who's your fancy?
Well, I mean, the horse to beat by a mile in here is Hello Beauty, coming in from Churchill, getting her first opportunity against New York breds after 6 starts against Open Company. This is just a massive class drop. She's clearly the horse to beat. I don't think you could really make any multi-race play without using her in a serious position. There are a couple of really interesting new turf horses with pedigrees that you've got to at least touch on. The first of which is the 3 Off Script. Now, this is a filly that was pretty highly regarded last year at 2 and got bet down to favoritism in 3 straight starts for Chad Brown. She's by Instagram, who's not the greatest turf influence. However, the dam was a 3-time turf winner, was a stakes winner. The second dam was Lady Well Court, who was a 2-time turf winner as well. This is an old Phil Serpy, good Hilly Field stable pedigree. So there's a lot of pedigree. The inside draw, the stretch out, it really leads you to believe that Irad's going to put this horse on the lead. If it was the inner turf, I'd probably feel even stronger, but I think this horse is dangerous. I don't love the post or the scenario for the 10 Starship Pegasus, but Pete, I mean, this pedigree's gold as far as New York breds go on turf. I mean, this is the Spirit of St. Louis family that includes Bar of Gold, who of course was bred better for turf than she was for dirt. So with the pedigree like that, I probably can't resist. I also wonder a little bit if maybe you're supposed to get cheeky and say, let me let Frankie figure out how to win this race on Hello Beauty. He's had a limited number of mounts at this meet, and obviously Hello Beauty's the horse to beat, but I'm going to use both Off Script and Starship Pegasus as well.
You make great cases. I was master the obvious with Hello Beauty, who I don't think can basically just run that same race and should be able to win this. For me, best form in the race and a significant drop, but excellent cases on those unexposed runners, the 3 and the 10 as well. The 10, I worry a little bit about the trip, but you'll probably be compensated in price, but the 3 should get a great trip. And that's one that I think halfway through the race, at least, I don't know what'll happen from there, but halfway through the race, I think you're going to be happy you had 3s on your ticket. So I'll probably end up following you in with both of those and just pressing up the favorite a little bit. Did you at the end make the 9 your top pick, or how did you organize those 3 numbers?
I'm going to pick the 3 on top. So I'll probably go 3, 9, 10. Of the rest of them, they all sort of look the same. They've all been, kind of plugging along for a piece of New York bred races. I don't think you can separate Night Jasmine, Tehila, Will of a Woman, and Nona Lynn very much. So I'll just pick one of them for fourth.
We will close out with this $50,000 maiden claimer on the turf, mile and a 16th. Very important race in terms of all these late picks. I had one that I liked in here. I'll go first in this one. I thought the number 12 Ski Bum was interesting. Definitely a story to be told if the fractions can be set much more efficiently. Might have the tactical speed to navigate that outside post. And I think should be a pretty good price in this spot. And that post is only going to help with that. Yeah, 15-1 on the morning line. I'd take a little bit of shot there with this one with some good speed and some races better than they look for how inefficiently he's run early on. There's obviously a lot of different ways you could go. That's one I wanted to mention. Who do you like?
The horse to beat is Fateful Lightning, the 7 for Brad Cox, dropping in for a tag. There's just something about this horse that really doesn't strike your fancy. It's probably because since his debut, he's not really run well. I know he got impeded and lost his jockey at second asking at Keeneland, but nothing's really gone that great for him. And I hate just simply taking him because of the class drop. Brad's numbers dropping on turf with maidens are a lot better because he's winning those races at places like Fairgrounds and Horseshoe Indianapolis, some of the lesser circuits. If you use the major tracks that Brad runs at, so I ran Churchill, Belmont, Saratoga, Aqueduct, he's just 1 for 5. It's a small sample. It's not something he's done with a lot of regularity. I did agree with you on the 12 Ski Bum. I also thought the 10 Hedge the Risk was dangerous. He didn't have the cleanest of trips last time out, first time turf, and it feels like the Chad train is starting to hit its stride at the meet. So I would probably end up using all of those, and just as well as the 11 Got Stripes, who I think is going to run better on the class drop as well, and hope that the winner's among that group.
All right, let's see if we can get something out of Saratoga on Saturday. I will be watching. I'll be back in San Francisco then watching. Going to be going to check out the Mets down at Oracle Park. Should be fun getting a chance to check some baseball. But of course, we've got the portable betting machine here to be checking out Del Mar and Saratoga all the way along. Nick, great having you. Maybe we'll do some recapping early next week, and we'll be talking soon.
Sounds great, my friend. Looking forward to it.